Welcome back to part 2 of reseeding my fields. Wait till you see the drone shots I got of the lime spreading on Saturday. Honestly, 100% convinced it's the coolest drone footage I've ever recorded. But before we get to that, I am going to take you through the costs of doing this reseed. And the final cost might really surprise you. I know it definitely surprised me. And once we have the cost, we will then try and work out how much extra grass we get off this reseed versus the old lay, and that will give us the all-important return on investment. So about half of this table is known values and the other half is based on older calculations from a few years ago and some estimates. So for example, I know that I used 175 litres to plough this 12.5 acres, which gives us a value of 14 litres per acre to plough it. An example of an estimate in this table is how much depreciation the power harrow is suffering, because I know how much I paid for it. I know roughly how much I'm spending a year on bolts and tines, but what's its residual value? If I sold it today, I might get the same amount that I paid for it. So there's a little bit of estimates around machinery depreciation. Another example of an estimate in these figures is how much my tractors are depreciating. I can use the book value, but it overestimates it, so I've got to scale it back somehow to reflect the true value of the tractor if I sold it, but it's close enough. So let's go all the way back to the start and start with the preparation of the field before ploughing. So we sprayed this field off with a cheap Roundup and it cost us £180 total. It took me 2 hours to do it, and including labour costs at £15 an hour, the total cost to spray this field off was £226. Then we came in and topped the field. I have the topper value in at £50 for depreciation. It took 3 hours to top the field, which gave us a total cost for this field to be topped of £116. Then we get on to the cultivation costs. So how much did it cost us to take it from a topped field to a seed bed ready for seed? Ploughing was by far the most expensive bit. I reckon the depreciation on the plough is around £30 an acre, which means that it cost us £375 just in plough associated costs to do this field. It took me a whopping 19 hours to plough this 12.5 acres. It's no wonder I hate ploughing so much. The reason it took so long, a lot of this was a hill, had to be ploughed one way. It's just not a quick job to plough the field. When you add in the labour and the cost of the tractor for them 19 hours, it brings the total for the field to £945 to plough it. That means it cost me £75 an acre to plough this field. And before I get a heap of people saying, why do you not just hire someone to plough it at £40 an acre? I tried to get someone to help me plough this field, but everyone was busy at silage. And this is why I ended up buying my own plough, because when I want to plough a field, everyone else is busy. So I have no choice, I just have to do it myself. If you own a plough and you live near Oma and you want me to ask you to plough my fields for £35 or £40 an acre, send me your details. You can plough every single acre on this farm for the next year. So the power harrow equipment cost is also a little bit of an estimate. I have it in at £62.50 per time. Once you add in the labour and the cost of running the Puma, including fuel, we get a figure of £206 to power harrow it for the first time and £167.50 to power harrow it for the second time. Then we get to rolling. Now rolling is a fairly cheap job. I have the cost of the depreciation on the roller in at £15, which is just over £1 an acre. It doesn't really depreciate, I reckon. And if you add in the cost of the tractor, the cost of the fuel and the cost of the labour, the cost to roll this field once was £115. Now we move on to sowing. So this field is going to get a grass seed mix from Ploughing Valley called Ploughing Valley Gold Special. The special means that it doesn't have clover. Clover's a waste of time, a waste of money when you're running an intensive grazing system, in my opinion. I have the cost of this seed in at £65 an acre. I'm 90% sure that's what it's costing me, but I haven't actually asked. It's either 56 or 65. We'll go with 65. Then I am hiring someone to come and sow this. He'll be here in about 2 hours, and the cost for that is £25 per acre. Then finally we have to roll it again, which adds another £115 to do this field. And then our final category is miscellaneous, which is really just fertiliser. I plan to sow this with CAN, so just nitrogen, and muriate of potash, which is K, It doesn't need P. Our index for this field is 4. Because it's on the grazing block, it is high in P. So that means our total cost for fertiliser is coming in at roughly £500. So that's all the costs. So what is our total for the field? And what is our total cost per acre? So our total to reseed this field was a whopping £3,416, which gives us a total cost per acre of £273. Now, I expected the figure to be around the 220 to 230 mark, so it did surprise me when it came out at 273. But I think the main reason it was higher than I expected was actually just because of how long it took to plough the field. Okay, my lime has just arrived and I'm going to power harrow it in right behind him because there is rain forecast in the next hour and I want to try and get that done before that hits. When I'm power harrowing it, I will take you through the return on investment I am expecting from my £3,400 I have spent on this 12.5 acres. Okay, we're in the final stretch now of getting this 12.5 acres reseeded. Oh goodness. That branch did not sound good. That's wet, that's wet, that's wet, that's wet. It's a little wet patch, we're fine. I'm trying to go in quite deep along the edge here to fill in the furrow. It's a lovely, lovely seed bed. A lovely seed bed. I am currently power harrowing the last of the field for the second time. All of the lime has been applied now. I put on 2 tonnes to the acre. I actually didn't include lime in my costs. Oh no. Well, that's like a exceptional item. This hasn't been reseeded for 40 years. So if you want, you can add lime in. I think it's like £20 a tonne spread. If you don't want to add lime in, don't add lime in. I totally forgot about that. Anyway, the lime's on. I'm power harrowing this for the second time, for the final time. Ian is currently rolling what I've done behind me. The guy with the grass seed will be here in the next hour to sow it. And it looks like we're going to get it all done before the rain arrives. This is fun. The tractor with the lime spreader made a little bit of a mess, didn't it? Let's try and fix this with the power harrow. I will just go all the way up the hill and then come down and get it in the second run. After I get this bit of a mess fixed, we'll get to the return on investment of doing a reseed. I probably want to go quite fast through this. Hopefully they don't break something. Okay, we're good. That's okay. Pretty much fixed it. Right, back to the question, is doing a reseed worth it and what is the return on investment? So we're going to use our cost of 273 as our benchmark and we will see how much extra income we think this field will deliver for us now that it's been reseeded. It's very hard to put a hard fast figure on this, but in general I say that a reseed delivers about 30% more grass than an old lay. So let's work out how many extra tons of grass I can expect off this field next year. We will say this field was delivering 10 tons of dry matter per hectare this year, so we will expect 13 tons of dry matter per hectare next year. So that's 1.2 tons of dry matter per acre extra per year. And now to put a value on that 1.2 tons of dry matter, we have to start making some assumptions. But what we can do is we can err on the side of caution to make our assumptions more credible. So there's plenty of people buying silage at the minute at £50 a tonne, but let's say silage is worth £40 a tonne, which means it is approximately £160 per tonne of dry matter. So that is the figure we will use for a tonne of grazed grass. So £160 a tonne times 1.2 tonne is £192 per acre per year of extra grass we can expect from this reseeded field over what it would have grown last year. And if you only wanted to value the extra tonnage of grass you were getting off your field, that would be totally acceptable. You would end up with a return on investment of just under 2 years. You've spent £273 and you're getting £192 back every year. However, there is another piece of the puzzle which you have not considered, and that is the extra energy and protein in the newer, fresher grass varieties. Now the extra return will vary depending on how old the previous sward was, if you're reseeding a field of good grass into good grass, the extra value is maybe not going to be so great. But for us, on these fields, this ley was probably 50 or 60 years old. So how do we quantify the benefit of having newer, higher energy and protein varieties of grass? Well, I'm going to keep this simple, and again I'm going to err on the side of caution, and I'm going to use my own experience to put a value on it. When our cows move from an old ley onto a fresh reseed, they will generally, and this is a generalization, they will generally produce about an extra litre of milk per day. In energy terms, that's about half an ME per kilogram of grass, but I think the higher protein also has a large part to play in pushing up that milk yield. So it's conservative to say you will get an extra litre per cow per day at grass. So if we assume this 12.5 acre field is going to deliver 6 grazings, and it's going to deliver that for 6 times a year, it'll probably be more like 8 or 9, but I'm being conservative. That means that we could expect to see an extra 36 litres per cow per year. So if I get my magic calculator back out and do 36 times 180 cows, gives us 6,480 litres, and times that by 0.4, which is the current milk price, we get 2,600 pounds extra milk per year from this reseed. When we convert that back down to a per acre figure, it is 207 pounds per acre. So if we add that to our extra grass yield, which I think was 192, I can't actually remember, we end up with £399 and 36 pence. So we have an investment of 273 and a return of £400. So to finally answer the question, what is the return on investment in reseeding a field? It is significantly under 1 year. Now there is tons of caveats with this. If you reseed a field and then you don't apply the right amount of fertilizer, your fresh reseeds are going to disappear. You might get less grass yield if you do not do your nutrient management correctly than an old sward. Another caveat is if you're feeding sheep off a fresh reseed, you're going to get a lot less money back than if you're feeding dairy cows. But I can only answer the question for me, and for me, reseeding fields is a fantastic return on investment. And when the return is so good, essentially anyone on any type of farm, on any type of soil condition, will get a good return on investment from reseeding their fields. I didn't do a bad job of fixing up that mess, did I? The power harrow can cover a lot of sins.
Like it all cold, but I like your drugs. Sit in my blood, maybe too much, never enough. I'm your dog, I'm on your flow. All that you want, but I like your drug. Get all worked up, loving you, but it's not enough. Loving you from the air like gold, your heart from air like wool. Fear pulls you from my arms, it's a reckless up and down. Stardust, ooh, but I made it just dangling like a thread from you. I'm climbing into your walls, I'm where the spiders go. I'm here, but you aren't sure. What are you waiting for? Stretch me like leather rope, make me invisible, shape me into your form. What are you waiting for? I stay so in love. It's an airless black as on. You turn up
My chimney nearly rolled away. I just jumped out to record the outro to this reseeding video and I forgot to put the handbrake on and I'm at the top of this massive hill. Oh my word! I literally nearly lost my chimney. That was so close. Oh my word, I am honestly shaking. That was really stupid. That was really stupid. Anyway, back to the outro. So unfortunately I didn't beat the rain, but we are getting the grass seed sowed. I had planned to roll that straight after the grass seed, but that's not going to happen now. It's got too wet. I will hopefully get it rolled tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, at the weekend. So we can pretty much say that that's the last reseed of 2024 finished. I cannot believe I nearly lost the chimney. It would have been down that hill and straight into the river. Oh my days, that was so stupid of me. Don't get out of the chimney without putting the handbrake on. Oh my goodness, my heart is racing. Anyway, thank you all for watching once again. If you enjoyed that, please do give it a like. Please consider subscribing. And if you have any criticism, compliments, suggestions, stick them down in the comments below. I really do appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week.